Yes! I can become rich overnight. Hey folks, CA Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to a super important video which is about should you sell everything and buy this stock so that you can become rich overnight. If you want to know the answer, please don't forget to watch the video till the end. I'm sure everyone is like, Rachana, quickly tell us the name of this stock. But before I tell you anything, I want you all to tell me in the comment section that do you know any of your friends or relatives who has become rich overnight by selling everything and investing in a specific stock? To be honest, I believe that doing such a thing and investing in such a stock is like buying a lottery ticket. The probability of you winning that is as good as 0.00001. And do you feel you are that lucky that you will be amongst all this? So I personally believe no. And if I ask you to tell me in the comment section that in your friends, in your family circle, do you know at least one or two persons who have lost heavily in the stock market? I believe that majority of you will be able to write that. Even I can write down that I know 2-3 people who have lost heavily in the markets. Now, why did this happen? This happened because they believed that, okay, I can become rich by selling everything else and buying in one stock. This does not work. Okay, as I mentioned, the probability of winning is less, probability of losing is the highest. So what should an ideal person who has good rationale do? Such a person, step number 1, should do proper analysis of that specific stock. Step number 2, if that person believes that, okay, I believe that this is, even if it is a penny stock right now, it can become a multi-bagger in the coming few years. If you believe that be so, then you should invest in that stock but with reasonable position size. But what could be a position size? How much can you invest in specific stock is what we are going to discuss in the coming section of the video. Well, now comes the most important part because here we are going to discuss about position sizing. But position sizing depends on whether you are an investor or whether you are a trader. So first let's take the example of if you are an investor, then what? Then let's understand that assume your capital is 1 lakh rupees. Okay. Now in this 1 lakh rupees, can you put everything and anything in one stock? Answer is no, that is wrong. First things first, what you will have to do that out of 1 lakh, maximum capital that you can allocate to one stock is what you have to define in your mind. And if you ask me, my answer would be maximum up to 15% should be your allocation to one stock. Now the next question, acha, 15% understood. Am I going to put that at one shot? Answer is no. Ideally, you should again break it down to 3 pieces minimum. Means what? You can invest 1/3, 1/3 and 1/3 in that specific stock. If you feel that is still high, you can also go ahead with 1/5. I hope you have understood how can you do your position sizing if you are an investor. Now let's go ahead. If you are a trader, then what happens? Alright, what happened? You're still behind that stock? Chalo, theek hai aata. Assume that this is Reliance Industries. But what did I say? Assume that is Reliance Industries. This is not an investment advice. Kya baat hai animation team. See, my animation team is also now ekdam pro. I hope you have also become that much pro. Whatever we are discussing is for understanding purpose, right? So assume that you are an investor. Now you know maximum how much allocation can go for this stock. So assume you have that 1 lakh rupees capital, then 15%, then 1/3, 1/3. Fit, it's there in your mind. But now if you are not an investor, assume you are a trader. Now the big question is, how much of my total capital can I risk for a specific trade? That is the next big question, right? So for that, I'm going to tell you some base thumb rules and I'm also going to tell you how can you do a proper position sizing, means how much quantity can you invest at one shot. In our example, Reliance Industries, maximum quantity is what we are going to discuss. So just have a look at this. So now we are on the chart of Reliance Industries and now let's do a normal price action analysis. Okay, so if you can see that recent high, this was the recent high, then it came down. So first let me draw a horizontal line here. So somewhere around here I am drawing this line. Okay, so let's see this very nicely. I'll just zoom in for this one. Okay, have a look at this now. What happened? The stock went up from here till here, saw resistance, came down. again came till here, and then you saw a big green candle breaking this specific resistance, right? Went up, then it saw again a retest and then bounce, correct? Again it came down till here, a big red candle again broke this, and again see it has broken again with a big green candle, went up, now it is at the retest level. Question is, like it did a retest here and bounced, is this a possibility that this is a retest and from here could it bounce? Now you are a trader and you want to trade this one. You want to trade for this bounce. Is it at a good support level? Answer is obviously yes, it is at a good level right now. Now the question is that I want to first, step number 1, I have to determine my stop loss. So for a stop loss, let us take a simple pivot point. Okay, so I am typing out pivot point standard, and I am going to the settings. Let me take only one pivot, and I am saying okay. Kachra nigala zara tha. Okay. So what is the pivot coming to? It's coming at, see, 2399.95. So assume at 2400. If you want, you can just put it, let's say 10 rupees lower. Okay, because 2400 is like a mental support level as well. Till here it is okay. Now you know that, okay, as per the technical analysis, currently it is at a good support. Ideally it should bounce from here. And if it goes down, then my stop loss can be at 2390. We are taking it 10 rupees lower than the 2400 ka support. Question is now, how much quantity? Price levels have been determined. Now next question is about quantity. So for that, let's come to our website rachanaranade.com, and on this what I have done is I have done a nice financial calculator here, free of cost, very important. So what you can do is just go down and come to the position sizing calculator. Now I am clicking here. Okay, so assume that the capital that I have in my example, how much was it? 1 lakh, correct? If you are a trader, keep this as a thumb rule, maximum 2% of your capital can go for a specific trade. Okay, so just put 2 here. Now what is your buying price? Buying price right now it is at 2549, say let us say 2550, right? What was my stop loss? Stop loss was at 2400 as per pivot, but we are saying 10 rupees lower, let us say 2390. Now if I put submit, then here you can see that maximum quantity, I am just zooming this, maximum quantity that you should trade is 12.50. Of course you can't buy 12 and half stocks, so either you can go ahead with 12 or max to max 13. So I hope with this entire exercise, not only you understood how to put a stop loss level, but you also understood how much quantity should you trade in. So even if someone tells you tomorrow that, hey, this is the best stock, becho sab kuch and buy this, should you do that? Answer is no. Quantity has been answered very clearly in this one. Now let's try and understand the importance of stop loss. You know what happens is that whenever a trader takes a trade and assume that his stop loss is actually hit, still that trader feels that let me wait for some more time and maybe from there it can recover. But then if you just keep on waiting, then it may happen that the stock keeps on falling and eventually you become an investor, which originally you had intended to become a trader, right? I'll give you some quick examples for that as well. Have a look at the Yes Bank chart. Assume someone had entered at the topmost position and from there the stock has gone down by 96%. Take the example of RBL Bank. Look at it, from the top till the current position, it has gone down 88%. Third example, have a look at this, IB Housing Finance. From the top it has gone down 93.63%. Now if someone had put, even if someone had traded in this, okay, for some swing or whatever, and had not put a stop loss, then you can imagine what would have happened to such a person. Now you might say that anyways these are not fundamentally strong stocks. Give us some renowned example also. Have a look at this, Tata Motors. Now Tata Motors, which is ideally not a bad stock, in that also you can see that the fall from the top to the bottom was 87.76%. I agree that from the bottommost point it has rallied quite a bit, but then assume that the last chunk was not there with us. In that case, if someone had initiated a trade and had lost almost 87% of the value, do you feel that that person would have stayed sane at that time? Absolutely not. And that is the sole reason why I am telling you that if you are a trader, you have to have your stop losses right. Now let's come to the final concept for this video, but this is like a super important concept, so just pay attention. I'm sure everyone knows the concept of averaging, but very few people know the concept of pyramiding. So let's understand this example with the help, let's understand this concept with the help of an example, right? Just have a look at this. Assume that the share price is at this level. Let's not go into numbers, understand the levels concept. It goes down, you buy again. It goes down, you buy again. And it again goes down, you buy again. Okay, you are not a trader right now. Once it had gone down and had it hit your stop loss, you would have quit. I am talking about if you are a long-term investor, you have 5 to 10 years vision, and then you have kept that one third. You remember, na? I talked about in that pizza example, right? So it went down and you buy again. So that is where the concept of averaging comes into play. Simple. But if the stock is again at the original level and your view goes right, you have bought it and your view goes right, it doesn't come down only, it goes up. Can you buy again? Why not? Again it goes up. Can you buy again? Yes. And again it goes up. Can you buy again? Why not? And that is the concept of pyramiding. In simple words, if you have put some money, if you have invested some money in a stock and that turns out to be a winner, why not put more money? Why not invest more money in your winners is the concept, and that is called as concept of pyramiding. Does this really impact your profitability? Yes or no? So for that, so let's take an example that I have 10 lakh rupees as my capital, right? Now, right now only we have learned that 10 lakh rupees ka maximum up to 15% can go in a specific stock. So total how much can go in the stock is 1,50,000 rupees. Now assume that you have decided that this 1,50,000 rupees, let's continue with the same example of Reliance Industries. You have decided that I am going to invest something like this 50,000 right now, again 50,000 and again 50,000. But assume that you are going to invest only if it goes down. Then only you are going to invest the next slots. Okay. Now somewhere around COVID bottom, somewhere around March 20 wala scenario, at that time the price of one share was 1,200. That is where you had decided, assume, to put your first installment of 50,000 rupees. Okay. Now how much quantity can be bought? Those who are attending this, shoot, take out your calculators. Aye ka? Mobile hai ka? Aye? Okay, tell 50,000 divided by 1200.
41.67.
41.67, but let's round it off. You are not allowed to tell in point, decimal point, okay? 41, na? 41, okay, chalo. So total quantity is 41, okay? And now assume that the stock never goes down, okay? And from that day, minor falls here and there is okay, but it didn't show good correction. And that is the reason why you never got a chance to enter into the second 1/3 and the last 1/3. So tell me now, in that case, assume that the current market price is around 2,550. In that case, you would have been again left with only the same amount, which is 41. Okay. In that case, your amount of profit would have been, this is around 50,000. 2550 into 41. 2550 into 41 is, okay, 1,04,500. Okay. So your profit would have been 55,350 rupees. Fair enough till here, right? But now assume that instead of stopping here, had you done pyramiding, then what would have been the scenario? Let's understand. Okay, I'm just rubbing this off. And now assume that the stock price goes up to 1,500. Okay. So 50,000 divided by 1,500 around?
33.
Zorat Sanki?
33.
33. Okay. Right? Chalo. So done till here, and assume that it still goes up to 1,800. Kara calculate.
28.
ह्याने एकदमच जोरात सांगितलं तर. हां ठीक आहे. 28. शेजारच्यांनाही ऐकू गेलं असेल. ठीक आहे. 28. Okay. Now with this scenario, have I invested my full 1,50,000? Answer is yes. Now if I take an average of this, so overall the average will come to average price of how many stocks now? Average price of 41 plus 33 plus 28. Iska average price will come to 1,456. I am rounding it off, okay? If you didn't understand how to average this out, this is basic mathematics. If you don't know how to get such basic things, then you can also check out my friend's YouTube channel. His name is Ganesh and he has an amazing mathematics channel which is titled as Don't Memorize. Don't forget to watch his channel as well. Coming back to our discussion. The LTP is how much? LTP is 2550 and the profit per share will come to 1094. Now I am going to multiply 1094 by what? With 103, and now my profit comes to 1,12,682 versus 55,350 roughly. So with the help of pyramiding, was I able to almost double my profit, a little bit more than that? Answer is absolutely yes. So I hope you have understood the concept of averaging as well as pyramiding. Well, I hope in this video you have understood the concept of stop loss, you understood what is the concept of averaging, pyramiding, very important, you understood what is the concept of position sizing. And one thing I hope you have noticed, that if I'm talking about an investor, the concept of stop loss is not that really important, because if you have done a strong fundamental analysis of that stock, if you believe that the stock has nice fundamentals, and let us say the stock is falling only and only because of global factors or something like that, nothing is wrong in the company, then you can surely consider averaging it. But if you are a trader, then you should have your stop losses right and tight in your place, and you should be honoring them. Well, if you have loved the video, don't forget to share it with your friends. And if you want to know more about technical analysis, you can click here. And for a change, if you feel like subscribing to our channel, you can also click here. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.